So if you're thinking about moving to Baltimore and Parkville, Maryland in particular, this is the video for you because today at Open House, Jennifer and Zach are talking about Parkville, Maryland and what it's like to live there. They get into the culture, the schools, the jobs, the things that there are to do for fun, whether they be restaurants and bars or the nature scenes, things like that. And if you like this video, then check out our channel because here we help folks who are out of state learn about living in the DC, Maryland, Virginia area so that they know exactly where they should move and who they should call when they want to make that move. So let's get right into the conversation between Zach and Jennifer.
Hey everyone, welcome to Living in DC. My name is Zach, and today we're going to be covering the Parkville area, which is a suburb of Baltimore, and we have the perfect person for the job. Jennifer, introduce yourself. How long have you been a realtor? How long have you lived in Hamilton, Parkville area, and what made you get into real estate?
Hi, yeah. So again, my name's Jennifer. I'm with Next Step Realty. I have been an agent for just shy of 2 years. I became an agent in December, so I'll be hitting 2 years in December. I've lived in Hamilton for 10 years. We're neighbors of Parkville, and my husband actually grew up in Parkville, so we're really familiar with the Parkville area. And I became an agent. I've always had the operations project management background, and with the market, making sure we hit those timelines, ensuring that you meet those deadlines, and always like having that customer service background, loving everyone that you meet. And with how the market was going, it just made sense.
Yeah, the past couple years have been crazy for real estate. And I
Yeah.
know a lot of people jumped in, a lot of people jumped out. So it's the fact that you're still here shows that you're probably cut out for it pretty well.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. So tell me a little bit about the Parkville area. Like, what is the culture like? What is the vibe? Is it like really big city like Baltimore? Or does it feel more suburban? What is it like?
Yeah, so it's actually a small town. It's more suburban. Everyone who is been there is probably been there for a really long time, unless you're a first time home buyer getting into that community. But it's a really friendly community. Everyone takes care of each other. We're really big on supporting small businesses. So it's a great community to get into.
That it seems to be a trend in a lot of suburban areas now where it's like if you're not living in a huge city, you're able to
Hmm.
support small businesses and people are more aware of that,
Hmm.
especially because
Yeah.
everyone's trying to be a small business owner now. So
Yeah, it's also a great spot if you're not ready to be away from the city. It's a
Mm,
great place in the county to stay because you're still really close to the city. So you're not too far away. You're about 15 minutes from the city, and also 15 minutes from if you want to go to Harford County. So it's a great spot. You're right in the middle of everything.
cool. That's what I was going to ask actually is how long.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so speaking of like how long it takes to get somewhere, what is the economy like? Are there a lot of jobs in the Parkville area, or do people commute out into Baltimore and DC, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so in that area, if you're, it ranges honestly. So if you're more in the arts field, like doing graphic design, you can work from home, so it's great. But then if you're more in the field, we do have a lot of people that commute to DC, but you can take the train station, so it's not that awful of a commute. And then we have big companies like Under Armour, so it's about a 25-minute commute.
You guys have Under Armour in Parkville?
No, it's about a 25-minute commute to get to Under Armour. Our corporate office is downtown. It's in the
Gotcha.
Locust Point area.
Huh. Okay. What would you say is like the biggest source of jobs in the Parkville area?
In Parkville, the biggest source, I would say a lot of people are probably self-employed in that
Mm.
area, or yeah, work from home. I mean, right now, a lot of people are working from home. So that's just the new way of
Yeah.
working.
And you mentioned that you're living in like Hamilton.
Yeah.
What is the history behind your specific area? Is there anything interesting about like Hamilton? by itself, or is it all attached to Baltimore, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so Hamilton actually is a historic area. So Hamilton and Laurelville are historic, and prior to it being this cool place with lots of restaurants right now, it was a small town with mainly all farmers. So, and that was probably prior to even the Civil War. There's still a lot of historic areas that we still try to preserve, and we have. I'm trying to think. I think it's bemoreMainStreet.com. They're really big on taking care of that area. If anyone's interested in looking that up and getting involved.
Yeah. So is it like I live here in Missouri, and we're really big on conservation. And so we have conservation areas, and it just so happens that there's a lot of old homesteads and things like that at those conservation areas. Do you have similar things like that in your area?
So we have Herring Run Park, which is an older area, which is great. We still take really good care of it. There's trails there. And then we have Lake Montebello. A lot of people utilize that. That's been updated a lot, and it's more of like a track area. And we have a bridge right now that they're working on to rebuild because it is actually getting older. It almost fell apart. So right now that's being rebuilt.
Well, you said the area is like, the history, a lot of it strongly goes back past the Civil War. So I'm assuming it's probably a little too old.
Yeah.
to be walking on. Okay. And you had kind of mentioned a lake. So as far as like nature in the area, do you have like a lot of parks? What does that look like?
Yeah, I mean, so Parkville has parks, which is great, and
That makes sense.
Loch Raven Park is reservoir is really close to Parkville. And then if you're going towards the city, believe it or not, I mean, we have Herring Run Park, which is really great, and they have trails. So, and that's in the city, which is very rare to find.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know probably one of the bigger cities I can think of that sounds similar is Austin, Texas, where it's like they're very like nature oriented. So that's cool. What about other things to do in Parkville? Like what are like your 3 favorite restaurants in the area?
So Pappas is really good. They have really good crab cakes, so I love going there.
Okay.
But I spend a lot of time in Hamilton, so I'm sorry.
Sure. No. So, yeah. Even
But there's Maggie's Farm, which is like farm to table, which is great. And then just a little coffee shop, Zeke's Coffee, which is a really great spot to check out too, which a lot of people from Parkville go there because it's so close. Like I said, we're literally neighbors. I can walk to Parkville. That's how close we are.
Okay. And then does Parkville have, because I know it's like a suburb, does it have like a downtown feeling area where it's like a little bit more dense and there's like more shops and stuff, or what does Parkville or like Hamilton look like?
So Hamilton does. There's lots of shopping. There's the Found Shop. There's a little snug bookstore. So we have that in Hamilton, and then in Parkville on Harford Road, there's shops, like there's a magazine store, but I think the closest thing in Parkville is we're really close to Towson, and there's tons of shopping and restaurants in Towson.
Okay. Are there any attractions in the area, like any I grew up in a very touristy area, so there's like tower rides and roller coasters and all sorts of stuff all over the place. Do you guys have any attractions that maybe like a family would enjoy doing?
So not like that's right in that area like that, but we do have farmers markets on Tuesdays.
Okay.
And then if you want to go a little further out, there is in the White Marsh area, there's like ice skating in the winter, and so there's lots of things that you can do with your family that are within, like you have to drive to, but probably 5-10 minute drive to get to.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
You mentioned farmers markets on Tuesdays. Are there any other events like maybe surrounding holidays or anything like that the city does?
So yeah, we actually do it. So there's like there's music festivals that they do. There's certain days. There's like a calendar that you can find online, but they have live music. once a month, and then there's like First Fridays where the shops on Harford Road stay open a little longer, and then they have like art exhibits and things that, and things for kids to do. They shut down the streets a little bit so that everyone can enjoy it a little more.
So, and you mentioned things for kids to do. Would you say that what would you say the demographic is primarily out in like Hamilton?
So it ranges because, like I said, even in Parkville, a lot of the people have been there for a really long time. Like my neighbors have been there for years. And like even my kids are older. My son's in high school, so my daughter graduated college. So a lot of us are getting older, but now we're slowly seeing like first-time home buyers coming in. So a lot of a lot of families are starting to come in, but the kids probably are either in elementary, middle school age or starting high school around that age. So we're all like in our 30s and up.
Okay.
There. Yeah.
So there are a lot of families out there, but you're just now starting to see a lot more like young couples, and like they're going to be bringing babies eventually.
Eventually, yeah.
Okay. So for a family like that, where maybe it's just a young couple, they're going to have kids in a few years, or maybe a younger family. Let's talk about schooling. Are there like just primarily private schools, or are there any good public schools, or what does the school situation look like?
Yeah, so it's actually great in both. So in Parkville, you have Villa Cresta, which is a great school that's primarily elementary. And then for middle school, you have Parkville, you have Pine Grove, and they're all like great schools. You can actually look up the ratings. I believe they're like 4 out of 5 for those schools. So they're great. And those are public schools.
Cool.
And then if you're more into the private schools, you have St. Ursula, which is a great private school. And then if that's all in Parkville, if you're looking more into Hamilton, you have Hamilton, which has, if you're in the zone, you can go to that school, and that's a city school. Or if you want your child to go to that school, but you're not in the zone, you can test to have them in there, but they have to test at a certain score and be eligible for their ingenuity or STEM program. And then there's also lots of charter schools in the city as well, like City Neighbors, which are more of like project-based learning and art-based learning. And then there's also private schools, which St. Ursula is one as well, and then St. Francis, which are right within that area.
Wow, that's cool. That's a lot of really valuable information. It's always nice when a town has like a mixture of public, private, and charter, because like where I grew up, it was just public. Like there's no other option. So that's really cool. What would you say is like the top dog high school of the area?
So high school. So there's for Parkville, it would be Parkville and also Loch Raven are two of the top ones. And then if you want private, a lot of kids go to Calvert Hall, Catholic High, Mercy. Those are like the top private ones, and Curly. And then the private ones are also the same for city schools. A lot of the kids go to those as well. And then for city, you have really great schools. There's Baltimore City College, and then there's Poly and Western. There's great, and they also have really great athletic programs too.
So far, we've talked about just how the area is like the Parkville area is really community based, and you're not too far from like the big city, but you're also not in the middle of nowhere. So you have kind of a little bit of everything. And then it seems like it's a really great place to raise a family, just because you had talked about all the nature and the events, and then you pair that with a really wide variety of schools to choose from. I mean, that's enough to make somebody want to move to the Parkville area. But of course, the thing that really is going to decide that for somebody is if they can afford it. So what would you say if we're talking about housing, which is, I'm sure you're really excited to talk about with you being an agent. So what would you say is the like the average size of a home and like the average price, and what can you get for, you know, the average price basically?
So the good thing about Parkville is that it ranges, because in Parkville there are townhomes and as well as detached homes, single family homes. So you can buy a home from 160 up to like 400-500 if you'd like. There's so many different ranges. So you can get a good size home probably at 260, probably 3 bedroom, 2 bath, and
Okay.
in really good shape with a backyard, because it's in Parkville, it's not in the city, so it's easy. You know, you might even have your own parking. For
Just like
like,
a standard quarter-acre lot.
yeah, in a really, really good shape home for that price in Parkville.
Okay.
Now, if you're talking Hamilton, it might be even larger, because the homes are a little bit older in that area.
Gotcha. Are there any specific like luxury communities where you're talking like in the millions?
So are we talking about outside of Parkville?
Yeah, or just
Yeah,
anywhere in the
okay.
Parkville area like Hamilton
Um,
or
Not for millions, no, not in those areas.
okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah. These
gotcha.
are really, these are affordable homes for families that are just starting. Yeah.
Cool. Well, good deal. I think that's a lot of really good information. Is there you know, before we wrap it up, is there anything that you would want to say that we didn't talk about you know, what you've liked about living in Hamilton, or what you would say to somebody who's thinking about moving there?
Yeah. So I love Hamilton for the reason that I can walk to everything. I don't know if somebody's looking specifically for that, but
Hmm.
I literally can walk to my coffee shop if I want coffee. I can walk to a restaurant if I'd like. I can walk to the bookstore. Everything's in walking distance, which I really like. Like I said, we're a really friendly community. So I know my neighbors. It's a really nice neighborhood to be in. So
Cool.
anyone's interested, you can reach out to me.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's also why we're here. We'll have all of our contact info below. If you're thinking about moving in the DC area and you don't know exactly where you want to go, feel free to give us a call and we will pair you up with a licensed realtor like Jennifer. Jennifer, thank you so much for coming on the
Thank
show
you.
today, and we will see you next time.
Thanks. Have a great day.